Do you ever feel like no matter how much you work, your business still isn't growing as fast as you want it to? Well, in this video, I'm going to show you the system I've helped over 160 eight-figure business owners build to scale to 7 or 8 figures without their business relying on them. Alright, so to start, let me show you why most businesses will never reach 7 or 8 figures and how you can hijack a secret from a $2.5 trillion beast, Amazon. So, when you order something from Amazon, what happens? You don't get an amazing sales page, you land on a shitty sales page, you just buy, and then bam, your inbox explodes with 10 different emails. Order confirmed, it's been dispatched, it's out for delivery, here's the exact second it'll arrive, and here's a photo of your front door just in case you forgot what it looks like. It's like Amazon is stalking you, but in a good way. It's wild, isn't it? But if you ordered the same product from some random website, you might land on the best sales page you've ever seen, but you might literally only get one email to say your order is confirmed. And then you're left sitting there thinking, well, fuck, did I just get scammed? So what can you learn here? Well, most entrepreneurs think scaling to 7 or 8 figures is about getting more leads, running better ads, optimizing sales pages. And yes, obviously, all of these things matter. But the reality is, if your customer experience is shit, if they don't stay, if they don't engage, if they don't get results, if they don't come back or refer, then growth is like trying to fill a bucket with a massive hole in the bottom. And you'll always cap out at a certain size depending on your market. And so if you want to smash through that revenue ceiling, stop obsessing over the front door and how many customers come in. Start obsessing over what happens after someone buys. Make your customer experience so good people can't help but stick around. This way you maximize your unit economics, and that makes scaling easy. Now, what's unit economics? Well, I'm a finance pro, so I might nerd out here, but I will do my best to keep it simple. So imagine two businesses. We have business A, who pay $100 to acquire a customer. The customer buys something for $120, but they never buy again. So your LTV is $120. But remember, it costs you $100 to acquire the customer. So that leaves you with $20. Now pay your rent, your staff, your suppliers, your taxes. You're lucky if you've got $1 left, maybe zero. Maybe you're even losing money on every single unit that you sell. Now, imagine business B. They do things a bit differently. They spend $200 to acquire a customer, which is more than business A, but the customer buys something for $100, but they buy that thing 10 times, so we have times 10, before they stop buying it. Well, the customer's LTV then is $1,000, right? Subtract your $200, that leaves you $800 to cover all your expenses. Business B is in a much better position because their unit economics are so much healthier with higher LTV and lower churn. But it gets better, right? Because with that $800 that you have left, you can reinvest another $200 into buying another customer. And so each customer essentially pays for the next customer, plus that customer, if they bought the thing 10 times, probably referred you to someone else, which is another $1,000 of lifetime value coming in. And they likely got some result from what you sell, right? Which means you can shout about that in your marketing, making it hopefully cheaper over the long run to acquire the next customer. And this only gets better if you increase this initial purchase value to $200 so that you cover the cost of acquisition straight away. Plus, it means your LTV is now $2,000 and you now have $1,800 left over. So the businesses that scale the fastest, easiest, and for the long haul, they're obsessed with maximizing one thing: unit economics. But how do you actually do that? Well, let me show you the system that controls it all. So remember that Amazon example. Well, what was the major difference between Amazon and the other business? Well, Amazon held your hand every step of the way. You always knew what was happening, what to expect, what to do next. So you had no questions, and the clarity you had on what you had to do and what was happening next was huge, right? Well, that is not an accident. Amazon has mastered the art of customer experience. And when customer experience is optimized, customers stay longer. They buy again, they get results, they refer others, and that leads to lower churn, higher LTV, more proof, easier marketing. And when one customer is worth more, you can spend more to acquire them, grow faster, and take pressure off the business. And now obviously pricing will have a massive impact on your unit economics, but there is a system for controlling it, okay? And it isn't some, fluffy, be nice to your customers advice, although you should. It is what we call inside Mastery OS, your critical flow. It's the customer journey, but systemized at every single step to be remarkable, repeatable, and built to scale. And I'm going to show you in literally 1 minute how to build this critical flow system. But first, for it to work for you, you need to understand that this is different from your business systems, okay? See, you can have the most systemized business on earth. You can have every process mapped, every SOP color-coded, and still deliver a crap customer experience. And if your customer experience is crap, eventually that reputation catches up with you and you won't have a business for much longer. Because see, when you systemize your business, you're systemizing what happens internally in the business so that you and your team have clarity on what you do and how you do it. But internal clarity does not equal customer clarity. Let me give you the perfect example, okay, to make this clear. And it's actually one of the biggest levers that you can pull to improve every single aspect of your customer experience and your unit economics. So again, Amazon, you order something, you're constantly told that it's confirmed, that it's dispatched, that it's on the way, that it's arriving today. Compare that to another business that says order received, then fuck all, okay? Well, that business could be operating amazingly behind the scenes and the team could be brilliant. But you as the customer have no clue what's happening. Your customer experience is crap. Now, what's the chances of you buying again? What's the chances of you telling your friend to go and buy from that place, okay? Now, next example, when you're lacking clarity from purchase to getting the product, this is essentially onboarding. And you might have the perfect onboarding system for your team. You know, your team might be told exactly what to do when a customer signs up. But if your customers are left in the dark, they'll be confused and without any clarity, which means they have a terrible first impression of working with you. They're less likely to engage, use your product or service, and buy again. See, with onboarding, it is one of the highest leverage things you can improve for optimizing customer experience because it is the first impression of your business. Like, let's say your product or service doesn't change in standard or experience, so long as it's half decent and it's not shit. If you improve onboarding, customers will perceive your product or service as better. So you get more repeat purchase, higher LTV, less churn, etc., simply by improving the experience before they get to use the thing you sell. So yes, it is crucial to map out your business systems. Like, obviously, I basically talk about it in every video. I'm like a broken record, but the critical flow is separate. It is something entirely on its own. And if you don't systemize this, then your unit economics are always going to be crap and scaling is always going to be hard. So now let me show you how to systemize your critical flow. And there's 3 steps, which if you nail these, your customer experience will be light years ahead of your competition. So step 1 is map the journey from the customer's perspective. So don't overthink this. Just open Canva whiteboard, which is what I recommend, or use a piece of paper or whatever flowchart software you like. But literally go through every single step of someone who wants to buy from you and then buys from you. Obviously, this will be, super specific to your business. But for example, they find you on social media, they click a link, book call, they get reminder emails and reminder texts about the call, they show up to the call, they sign up, they get a next steps page that they're redirected to, and then they get an onboarding email which explains all their next steps again. Then they get an onboarding call that tells them exactly what to do and what to expect. And you want to continue this all the way through delivery to getting results to renewal and to offboarding so that you can see every single step that your customer takes visually. Step 2, identify friction at each step. So as you go through the customer's journey, identify anything that is not remarkable. So what questions might someone have at this step? What is unclear? What is overcomplicated? Maybe after they sign up, it's not clear what their next steps are and what they have to do, which leaves them with questions and overwhelm. Identify all of these problems at each step. Then step 3 is to systemize clarity. So most of customer experience issues, most of them come down to clarity. Obviously, you want to deliver on the thing you promised, whether that's a product, a service, or result. But a lot of the experience itself is clarity because a lack of clarity creates questions, confusion, and overwhelm, which means they have a bad impression. They don't engage, they don't come back, they don't refer, they don't get results, and they did not enjoy working with you. So see any friction point that you encounter, you want to improve it. Now, what that means is you want to make everything incredibly clear. So clear next steps, fewer decisions, clear expectations, which this all typically comes down to 4 things. Clarity on what you're going to do, what they have to do, how they have to do it, and when it's all going to happen. And then you want to make it fucking remarkable, which will take time, but make every single step they go through as good and as clear as it possibly could be. So if they're not clear on their next steps after signing up or purchasing, you can add in an automation, whether it's an email or a redirect to a page or both, which explains their next steps. And do you want to know the best and honestly the most simple way to do this correctly and as to the best standard you can? Well, It's something almost no business owner bothers with, but it should be bloody mandatory. So have you ever seen those sales seminars where the guy in shorts that are way too tight to get someone to call their own business and pretend to be a customer to see how well their staff can sell? Well, that is the best way to map out your critical flow. Now, I don't mean go off to a sales seminar, rip off your shirt and wear your son's shorts but pretend to be the customer and go through your own business like they would. Click the link, sign up, read the emails, follow the instructions, and go through every single step. And also, you can get a team member or someone outside of the business, someone who knows nothing about what you do, like your mum or your dad, and get them to do this. And see anywhere where you or the person gets confused or has a question. That is a signal that the system is not clear enough, that your customer experience is suffering and that you can and need to improve it. I've had clients do this and realize a ton of their website links are not working. And the chances of your customer being so dying and desperate to buy from you that they fuck around to try find a link that works, it's slim, right? You're just adding friction in the way of them buying. And you would never have noticed this if you did not act as a customer. And see, once you have the critical flow system built, it's now time to maximize your unit economics, because now you can optimize every single step of the way to reduce friction, maximize clarity, maximize results, increase LTV, increase repeat purchases, reduce churn, maximize profit per customer, and make scaling so much fucking easier. Because with this system, you can create a feedback loop. You make small improvements, you observe behavior, you track data, and based on the data, you improve again. Maybe you test different changes, you remove friction, you improve clarity, you increase engagement, and your goal is to make every single step of the customer journey so remarkable and undeniable, because if it is remarkable and your product or service is undeniable, then every single aspect of your business will improve. Because guess what? Now you're not just relying on marketing and sales to get new customers every week, which is great, and you should build and improve those systems, but your critical flow makes each customer worth more. If each customer is worth more, growth is more predictable. Marketing and sales is easier because you have more proof and can spend more to acquire a customer. And that's why every fast-growing business ends up building this system. Reaching 7 or 8 figures in your business is not magic, okay? I've worked with over 100 business owners to systemize their business. It is the byproduct of a business that keeps customers, gets them results, and turns them into repeat buyers and referrals. But obviously, you still need to run your business like a pro to deliver on the thing that you sell, which means you need to nail and dial in your internal systems. So watch this video here and I'll show you how to systemize your business in just 12 weeks.